Hey, what's going on YouTube? Lionel here, and I have a review for you. This is take two on the Copper Skies, given my dialogue with Fragrance Brothers. Shout out to those guys. Went on a mini rant. So anyway, um, uh, um, I still, sort of stand by some of the stuff I said, but uh, for YouTube review purposes. Um, I really want to stick to the Copper Skies review. So, with that said, my allergies are bothering me a little bit. That's why my eyes look hazy. I promise you I have not smoked anything. So, I do have for you a fragrance review, and it comes from the House of Kerosene, and it is Copper Skies. Now, Copper Skies was created in 2012, as you all know. It was created by a fellow reviewer um, who goes by Kerosene. He has quite a few reviews, very funny, reviews, little slots and things that he does. I don't know how to do any of that stuff. So, anyway, it was created in 2012. It is his second and third. So I guess his freshman fragrance was Our Old Elements, which was well received. And then he has Copper Skies and Creature, which were released simultaneously, as far as I can tell. I don't know which was created first, but they were definitely released simultaneously. Um, Now, it is considered a woody aromatic, and it does have gourmand qualities or a gourmand character to it. So let's get into the notes. The notes are quite simple, given a fragrance. It is Virginia cedar, beeswax, amber, cloves, tobacco, and basil. Now, let's talk about the presentation. So I do have a bottle. I split two of them, and I actually kept one of the bottles. The other bottle is in the trunk that belongs to a guy who lives here in Dallas, who I've had, who was involved in the other split and had the most shares. So anyway, here is the bottle. My coloring looks a little funny. Can you see that? I don't know what's up with my lighting. So anyway, that is the bottle. Here's the top. It's this, it's a plastic, yeah, little plastic type top, maybe tin, with some copper on it, a little tin top, I think, or plastic, maybe hard plastic, with this copper wiring around it. Here's the bottle with the atomizer and the witch collar. A very nice dense glass, um, little plate in the front, and this little thing in the front. So I'm trying to see. I don't know why my lighting is there's. That's the best angle I can get. Uh, so he does not have a box. It does not come with a box. It actually comes in a type of a felt or a velvet sleeve. Um, and I don't know what I did with it. I guess I left it. I think it's upstairs in my little splitting room. So let's talk about the fragrance. Now I know some people have compared this to Shergy, and I can see it because of the beeswax slash honey tobacco combo with the amber. So it does have some characteristic. It does fall into that category. That's why I almost considered it a or Oriental from that perspective, but it is listed as a woody aromatic. Um, so let's talk about it. Your first spray. Um, oh, well, you know what? Let's talk about the notes first. So the notes. The only thing I really don't get, it's not dominant on the tobacco and it's not dominant on the basil, uh, but I get a lot of amber, a lot of honey, a lots of cloves, and the woody cederness. So I guess that's why it's considered a woody aromatic. Um, is because of the fact of the Virginia cedar there, which is really sort of the base all of this sits on. Now, to me, I would consider this an amber fragrance. So if you're not a fan of ambers, I would say avoid this fragrance. Here's why. So your initial spray, you blast, bam, you almost get an opening very similar to musk ravageur. The cloves to me are very bright. Now the cloves and musk ravageur sort of stands alone. It's just heavy and dense and bright and whatever cloves. In this one, the cloves are immediately joined by the beeswax, the honey, so it's sweetened up. So it's almost like, the heart or the dry down of musk ravageur is almost the top of this one. Now, I did do a review originally before I watched anybody else's review. I did end up watching Patrick's review, and he said a cinnamon. It has a cinnamon flavor. Man, it almost has a gingerbread type of flavor, a spiced gingerbread, maybe even a what do you call those cookies? Almost like a snickerdoodle type of cookie, a spiced rum cookie, some kind of cookie in there. Not a rum, but there's no alcohol in this, but or but it has sort of a snickerdoodle cinnamon type or a gingerbread cookie, gingerbread baked out of the oven type of gourmand quality to it. I find that consistent with what happened on my skin. So you get this blast of cloves, which is immediately, I'm talking about almost inseparable, joined by the sweetness of the honey, and then the amber comes in very, very quickly. So with that, it almost gives off a coffee vibe, almost like one of those coffee drinks, one of those, around Christmas time, Starbucks released that gingerbread latte. It almost has a gingerbread latte type of feel to it, but a bit more spicy, a lot more smoky, and I think the smokiness from the amber is causing this coffee effect that you kind of have. So initial spray, that's what you get. Immediately, you're going to realize that this is going to be a sweet fragrance. It's not sickly sweet, but it's sweet, very similar in the vein of Ombre Sultan. Sweet in the vein of, I would even say, Musk Ravageur. You know how Musk Ravageurs dry down and sweet, Cinnabon out of the oven type of thing. This one has the same type of feel to it, vibe to it on my skin. So initial spray, you get this menthol, I mean not menthol, medicinal clove, uh, um, um, uh, coupled with this blast of sweetness from the beeswax, honey, and then the amber comes in and provides this smoky quality, and maybe the tobacco is joining with the smokiness to kind of give it even a more smoky feel. So let's talk about longevity, projection, and everything else. So that's what it's. So the smell to me comes off as a sweet, I mean a honey based, a honey smoky amber that's a bit medicinal because of the cloves, and it's fairly linear. It just kind of gets a little sweeter, maybe a little denser, less medicinal, but overall the scent really doesn't have a huge development. It's not like you spray it on and you have the top of musk ravageur and you have this completely different dry down. No, you have in the top is there. It's just not as medicinal. It gets a bit sweeter, a bit denser. It becomes almost Serge Lutensis, Lutensinus. I don't know. It sort of gets more of like a Serge Lutensis Ombre Sultan as it dries down. You know how if to dry down an Ombre Sultan, it sort of dries down like that. And to me, Ombre Sultan is quite linear, but it's very medicinal on the top. So this one is not. It's not very medicinal, but it does have a medicinal quality. So, let's talk about longevity, projection, complement factor. Longevity, I got about 10 hours on my skin. Not a problem. I know some people are saying 6 to 8, some people are saying 8 hours. I'm getting about all day. I had to bathe it off of me on my skin, not clothes, on my skin. Um, Projection, I would give it, it's not A man projection. If you consider A man a 10, I consider A man, I am, I consider A man an 8, um, because of it just over projects. This one is a very nice projection, so I give it a 10 in that quality. Overall compliment factor, wonderful. Wore it, I got about 3 compliments the first time. Second time, I got about the same amount of compliments. Third time, one coworker realized that it was the same fragrance. Same thing, bunch of compliments. Um, it never overcrowds, so it's not like Shergy is sort of closer to the skin. This one does have some aromatic qualities to it. Overall, I give this a perfect score. I'm sorry, I know a lot of people don't like perfect scores, but for me as an amber lover, this is great. Amber Oud, I give a 3.5. I give this one a 5. That's my review. I appreciate it. Peace.